Alone in the Dark Empath. Hello, welcome to my channel. For those of you who have been to this channel before and have not subscribed, please do subscribe. And those who have been subscribing, please do, and thank you. I do appreciate that. It's going to be a collective reading. It's going to be with my little homemade deck here. And if you like this reading, thumbs up it. And if you haven't already subscribed, like I said, please do subscribe to this channel for some awesome readings coming in the future. I have the comment section open. If you want to reach out, go ahead in the comment section. And if you want to reach out to me, emails in the description box of this channel, along with anybody else that you want to know. This could be about more than one person here. We'll see. This is a collective reading, so it could be involving more than one energy. Okay. Anything else you want to know about this channel? If you want to support the channel, it's welcome. Okay, so I do read the energies as they come, and sometimes it might not make sense. So if I talk about gendered energy and it's not your situation, don't make it fit in your situation if it's not. Time, same as fluid. So if it's not happening right now, it could be happening in the future. And also if it's already happened, you know what I mean? If it could be someone else's story that you're experiencing through yourself. Energetically, it could be like kind of sensitively to someone else's story. Or you could be participating in a different way. Either way, you're welcome to sit through as I go. And I see these neurological sequences. So 1, 2, 1. And I'm going to call them out as I see them so you can check them out as you want to check them out. Stereotype. This was actually at the top of the deck when I picked it up, and I decided to use this little deck to do it. So somebody might be seen as stereotypical. You might be seen by someone else as being stereotypical, or you might have a stereotypical way of doing things. You might even think that you're stereotypical yourself. Or you might see someone else as stereotypical. It could be a lot of different layers to this, but like right now I'm picking up that somebody kind of dresses like they expect someone to see them to dress, or they would see themselves as something, and then they would dress to the expectation of someone else, like for their race or their gender or their job or their whatever, and they would be seen as like a typical representation of the thing, which would be stereotypical, literally, which would be a stereotype. Some people don't like that idea of stereotypes. Some people think it's not a good idea to be stereotypical. Some people even think it's funny and will literally stereotype themselves out of just funny because they get stereotyped all the time, so they do it. But this has something to do with the stereotype. If someone's stereotyping you, or you're being stereotyped, or you're stereotyping someone else, or you just participate in some stereotypes, or stereotypical behavior, because you just do. It's in the upright, so it's probably not so bad. But you might one day kind of become very aware that you are behaving in a very stereotypical way that you didn't really realize you're behaving in, and someone might point that out to you, and you might be like, oh, I didn't really see myself acting like that. But what does it mean to be that's the thing about it. Sometimes stereotypes can be racist and sexist and dangerous, and sometimes they can be kind of almost true in an insulting and offensive way, but not harmful. Essay in reverse. So, okay. Whoa, this got deep. Gotta do some deep readings recently. This got deep. Essay in reverse is there wasn't any kind of assault sexually. There wasn't any kind of sexual forced sex, whatever that is. Stereotype and essay, or rape in reverse, is a stereotypical lack of sexual assault. That's all weird. That's weird. Stereotypical not sexual assault. I don't understand. I need to clarify. What's this mean? Stereotype, and then sexual assault or rapist in reverse. A person maybe was falsely accused of sexual assault, or maybe people always kind of assume a person because the way they act or look would be even a target of sexual assault, or an offender. But maybe that's a stereotype. If it's in the reverse, this would be not sexual assault. So maybe this is a person who gets stereotyped, like, okay, this could be a person or group of people that people would think would never be a victim or never be um, targeted for sexual assault or never, suffer that kind of thing. It could be people who you would never think, like, would ever, I don't even know. There's groups that are targeted, like, specifically for certain kinds of assaults, actually, that you wouldn't think would any, I don't know how to describe that. You wouldn't think get any, get any attention, but it's not necessarily good. It is connections. Stereotype connections. Think about people who a person thought would never, or a person can never thought, or never thinks have to do with being, violated in that way, or made to feel unsafe, or you know that people don't think that the group ever has to deal with that. Something about connections, something about how people are making connections, or have made connections through people stereotyping certain people, that they would never encounter certain stuff, certain things that a lot of people encounter, that it's like people saying men can't be, men can't have this happen to them, and things like that, or people of certain socioeconomic backgrounds don't ever encounter that, or this community never has that, or that we never this and that never. This feels to me like sex exploitation, and it's like sexploitation, but it's strange, because it's almost like the opposite of, like, you would expect a group of people to always be targeted for sexual assault, but this is like the opposite. Like, you would expect them to never be targeted, and they maybe even get assaulted more often than most people do, but they can't put words to it because they don't know how to describe it, or because they don't know what it is, or because maybe I don't know. It could be any number of things. Connections. Like, it feels like fog. That's why it's like, where does this become an exploitative thing? Because you would have to count on people's opinions. You would have to count on people's words. Like, maybe certain people talking shit, there you are. Maybe certain people would never, ever expect a certain person to encounter this sort of thing, especially like at work, in a place like this, especially where those connections are. They would never expect it. Fog, talking shit. They would never. It's almost like they would want to use their connections to put the person in a fog about talking shit, or even to make them talk shit. How stereotypical. Is this to protect people from possible sexual assault, or is this to prevent them from ever encountering any possible sexual activity ever again? This is what I don't know. Because in this situation, it feels like people are getting confused, or being confused on purpose, for almost getting them to talk shit, or so people could talk shit about how stereotypical the situation is. Like, they made it that way so they could talk about it. Or they made it that way so they could get them to talk about something. What, the stereotype that a person, yeah, that's not okay. Well, it's like they made it so the person would have to talk about when they get assaulted. They'd have to say it, even though you would never expect them to ever have that done to them. So then this situation almost forces a person, actually more than forces a person, into even getting assaulted themselves. They have to tell them. Then they have to tell somebody, but nobody will ever believe them. So then that's the trap. That's the trap. That's the trap of if there's no semen, if there's no DNA evidence, then you can't prove that you were assaulted. You can't use that as this and that. And people will, that person says they did it and they didn't, or that person says that about this, or that person likes to use this accusation to get somewhere. But it's like, they would make it so they would be afraid to be seen making an accusation. Like, oh man, that's weird. It's like, that goes so, that's the point. It becomes like the other way, like they're sexually abusing them the other way, where it's like, I'm hearing incel. It's like taking a knee here. Loyalty to what cause? Okay. Loyalty to a cause that they don't understand why. They're being loyal to this cause of I'm going to forego sexual activity for the rest of my life to protect myself, even though I don't necessarily feel unsafe to do that. But because the stereotype is that I would, I'm just saying I, but it could be anybody's, could be your reading, could be someone else's. I would never be seen to be a target of sexual assault or a target of, rape or whatever. I would never be seen to be that way. Whoa. It's almost like that's so conniving. It's like a person, people start putting themselves in positions at that point to get essayed when they're not getting essayed, almost to like, God, this is a triggery one. Either way, I gotta continue with this. This is Jesus, man, oh man. And the card also says rapist, so like essayist, a person who would do that to someone. In reverse, like a person would never be seen to be that way. This could also go that way, where a person who would never be seen to be someone who would ever do that to someone, like maybe someone who even is like has been victimized, someone would never see them as being like able to victimize someone sexually because they have been victimized sexually. But that's another one where that happens sometimes, where people who had this happen to them do it to other people. But people have, like I said, a stereotypical vision of what it looks like to be an abuser, and what it looks like to be victimized. And then justice isn't anywhere here at all. It's almost like, can people get people to like collaborate with their victims against themselves, but like also collaborate with their abusers against themselves. This is why the connections thing felt like a funny thing. It feels like someone's making a business out of this. Like someone's making a business model off of confusing people like that. This could be some sort of like victim advocacy support something or other, where people are lobbying for certain people to get certain access to certain extra this and that because they don't do this and that and they haven't got this and that. But it could be other interest groups like this. This could be like a bunch of stuff. This could be like a bunch of interest groups that are like competing for interest for a certain like idea of what is a stereotypical experience, or even to smash the whole idea of the stereotype and rewrite the whole experience. But it's almost like they're I saw the one-upmanship card come up, and I kind of shuffled it back in there. Like they're competing to be the one to say what is the stereotype. Like what is it? Like these people, or this could be, like I said, interest groups that are competing to be able to say what is that. Like what does it look like when a person is more prone to being abused in that way, or what does it look like when a person is more prone to become abusive in that way? Like what does it look like? That's big business. Actually, that's big business. A lot of different investment places want to get involved in stuff like that. That's why it's kind of like it's one of those things that, like, if you go on the internet and talk about it, you get attacked from every direction, because what you say isn't what the majority of people want to go with. They don't want to go with the narrative. They want to go with a narrative that has already been set. And that if you say anything against that, you're being iced out of a community that you may even need for support. Say if you were a survivor or something, and you need the community to support you, that supportive community that could help you. If you're that stereotypical individual that people would never see as being targeted, you would need their community to support you. If you say anything against it, you're getting count on yourself being kind of iced out next out of the community that you might need for support. But that might be like because you have a different opinion about what it looks like to be like a stereotypical person or a stereotypical group of people who don't get targeted for certain things, or who don't like develop predilections to do certain things. And that might be something that they consider wrong, and you might be demonized within that group. That's all. Okay, I'm wrap it up here. Thank you for my reading. Thank you for sticking out to the end of the reading, and like this reading. Also follow, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification button when I post new content. All right, see you next one.